This show is sponsored by MidasResources.com, your trusted source for precious metals since 1996. Call Midas today at 1-800-686-2237.
Well, Dr. Stan here at the Genesis Communication Network, coming from the hills overlooking beautiful and picturesque Monterey Bay, and bringing you the news, the story behind the story. Hoping to convince you that reality is usually scoffed at, that illusion is usually king. But in the battle for the survival of Western and Christian civilization, it's going to be reality and not illusion or delusion that will determine what the future will bring. Well, I got in this battle for freedom 52 years ago when I really believed that the communists wanted to take over the United States, and they had their agents planted at every level of our government. And then I soon learned that there was a small subversive group that was funding communism. That communism was really not the threat it was made out to be. It was a small subversive group. And then about 35 years ago, I came across a woman named CONSTANCE CUMBEY, who took us into the spiritual forces behind this small subversive group. And as you listen to the news today and you're told about how ISIS is a threat to America, ladies and gentlemen, the CIA funded ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda. If you don't believe that, go up to your search engine and certainly type in CIA funds Al-Qaeda or CIA funds ISIS. And furthermore, you get the articles by Aaron Klein going into how the CIA funded and armed and trained the ISIS in Jordan 2 years ago. Nothing as it appears to be. Well, with us today is our good friend, CONSTANCE CUMBEY. CONSTANCE, you bring us up to date with what's really going on in the world today and the spiritual forces which energize this diabolical movement for world government.
Well, thank you, Dr. Monteith. I wish I knew all the things behind it, but of what I can see, I'm very, very alarmed. You've been saying for years that that there was a war brewing and they weren't going to be satisfied until there was a war. It looks like it's taking place, and it also the very acronym ISIS. To those of us who have studied this thing for years, should make anybody's hair stand on end. The mothership of what we've been looking at for the last 35 years, or 34 years it's been for me. I started, actually 33 years. It was 1981 when I stumbled onto all of this. And I discovered that at the root of this, the mothership of what I was looking at, this animal called the New Age movement, was something called the Theosophical Society, which had started life in 1875, organized by a couple of American lawyers and a Russian granddaughter of a princess by the name of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. And they organized a group in New York City called the Theosophical Society, supposedly for the purpose of studying comparative religions. They formed a magazine called it Lucifer, their first magazine. And Anna Blavatsky also wrote a couple of books, one called The Secret Doctrine, and the other one about what she said was that she was writing ISIS, rather ISIS was writing her. And this is the one that makes my hair stand on end, called ISIS Unveiled, by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. And time again, the New Agers use the acronym ISIS to tell us what they're about, what they're up to. And they, Alice Bailey, who was a student of Theosophy and then went on to form her own organization called Lucifer Publishing Company, and then the Lucis Trust and Lucis Publishing Company and Triangles and World Goodwill and the Arcane School and several other names, wrote a book called The Externalization of the Hierarchy. And she talked about this coming religious war that was going to take place if we didn't do everything that these Luciferians said that we should do. And I kind of describe these people as Satanists with Tea Party manners. And pretty much, if anybody's ever seen that movie about the woman who had the Rosemary's Baby, and pretty much like the old couple that was enticing the young couple in and trying to take the baby and raise the baby to be their new leader, the satanic baby. Well, the externalization of the hierarchy by Bailey directly referenced this thing, and I think I've got the book just real handy for what I suspect may be taking place right now. And because they talked about a religious war that was going to take place if we did not do what they say, that humanity was heading for a religious war. And they, just a second here, grab the book and just I think I go right to my sticky notes that if we did not do what they said, we were headed for a religious war, the likes of which humanity had never seen. And here we go. It's on page 545 of the Externalization of the Hierarchy by Alice Ann Bailey. And this was, she said that the Jews should be rid of fear as the major importance. They should know and recognize that Christ is the Messiah, and their idea of Christ was not Jesus. It was this Maitreya, the Christ, they said, who was going to be somebody that was possessed sufficiently to house the energies of whatever this thing was. In short, a very possessed person. And so that they should know, therefore find for themselves that the religion they follow is destructive of many of the values, that Orthodox Judaism, along with all the other faiths, should realize that there is no desire to make them Christian in the ordinary sense of the word, but they should all move toward some loving synthesis and eliminate their mutual antagonisms and rivalries, that the Vatican sees its political scheming, its exploitation of the masses, and its emphasis upon ignorance is as important, that the manifold divisions of the Protestant churches be bridged is imperative, so that if none of these things happen, humanity is headed towards a religious war which will make the past war look like child's play. Antagonisms and hatreds will embroil entire populations. Well, it looks like that is going on, and if they aren't waving it in our face even further, now they're calling it whatever it's animal that they've let come out of here, ISIS. And it looks like ISIS unveiled all right to me. It certainly could be. And moreover, this week so many things have happened, but yesterday it was announced within the Washington Post, or was it the day before yesterday, that that the president had a brand new initiative, and this initiative was calling for implanted computer chips.
In other words, implanting computer chips in people.
New computer Obama plans was a headline in the Washington Post yesterday. Or the day before yesterday, I'm sorry. New Obama plan calls for implanted computer chips to help U.S. troops heal. And then just tonight, just not 20 minutes before we came on the air, our local NBC affiliate had a broadcast about all the modern conveniences that were going to make it easier for us to shop. And that we could wave their RFID tags would be on everything, and we could just scan it and take it to our smartphone. But they said even better still, that one of the companies, I believe they said it was MasterCard, was actually working on computer chip implants. So things are happening fast. They're moving very quickly, and they're not trying to be even subtle about it anymore. They've deconditioned people from taking very plain scriptural warnings about this thing casually. And the people who are endorsing this program, Dr. Stan, are some of the principals also in the Institute of Noetic Sciences in California, and that's the one we've talked. It's like a New Age bridge organization that has bridged between the Fellowship Foundation in Washington D.C., that C Street Foundation Prayer Breakfast Network. You spell it their way, our way. They'll spell it theirs, I guess. Trey versus Bray, and they're not even trying to hide it now. It's just they're out there. They're going to do it suddenly. They're going to do it very fast, and they're going to do it while they have their man in the White House.
And you're suggesting that we'll neither buy nor sell unless we bear the mark of the beast?
It's looking that way increasingly, very, very fast.
Well, I'm not the least bit surprised, and certainly people must be wary of what's going on, but it's so convenient not to have to use cash. But you'll find that this is the devil's plan for humanity. Go right ahead. Oh, we're going to have to go to a break.
You may be surprised to learn that unless you crush fresh garlic and don't heat it, you won't get its primary germ-fighting, blood-cleansing, circulation-boosting molecule, allicin. This is health journalist Bill Sardi, and I've come to learn that allicin is the antidote that may save humanity in an era of so many environmental toxins, heavy metals, tainted foods, stubborn pathogens, and even high-fructose corn syrup. The problem is you can't easily swallow a pungent clove of garlic every day without burning your throat and producing garlic odor. Common garlic pills use sleight of hand and pretend to provide allicin, but when tested in a dish of vinegar to simulate stomach acid, the enzyme that makes allicin is destroyed. Enter Garlizyme, the world's first alkaline-buffered garlic pill that neutralizes stomach acid and assuredly makes allicin in just 9 seconds. And here is the good news. Order a 4-month supply of Garlizyme, and it only costs $8 and change per month, and shipping is free. Call 866-674-3955 today. What's not to like about Garlizyme? 866-674-3955.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
Are terrorist cells or prime terror targets located near you? Where are military bases and hazardous waste sites located? How do you find the best area for solar, average rainfalls, fish contamination advisories, and major transportation routes? In the new interactive CD book, Prudent Places USA, you will find the information you want with over 50 interactive parameters that you control. Find everything from housing prices and taxes to brewing environmental catastrophes. Locate billion-dollar disaster-prone areas, the safest cities, ideal solar locations, and much more. Complete with over 3 gigabytes of detailed information on each of the 3,000-plus counties in the U.S., including 550 high-resolution, full-color maps and full-color photographs, as well as detailed information and analysis that you need. Get this hard-to-find information by ordering Prudent Places USA now for only $29 plus shipping and handling by calling New Millennium at 888-803-4438 or order on the web at berkeywater.com.
If you need to say happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank you, or simply I'm thinking of you, ProFlowers.com is the key. ProFlowers has stunning bouquets, like the best-selling 100 blooms for $19.99. Plus, ProFlowers will include a glass vase for free. Sending someone a wonderful surprise of beautiful flowers sent fresh from the field is easy. Choose the bouquet you like, pick the delivery date, and each order is 100% guaranteed. Plus, all bouquets from ProFlowers are guaranteed to last at least 7 full days. Beautiful, fragrant flowers, picked fresh and sent to your loved one for lasting enjoyment. To get this incredible savings and send someone 100 gorgeous blooms with a free vase for $19.99, go to ProFlowers.com. Click the blue microphone in the top right corner and enter code PLOW. That's ProFlowers.com. Click the mic and enter code PLOW.
GCN, proudly sponsored by UnseenNow.com. Find out how to stop Big Brother in his tracks at UnseenNow.com. This is GCN.
The Whale Dr. Stan, and certainly our guest is Constance Cumbey, and she's talking about an occult, a secret organization called ISIS. And of course, this is what they're calling this, certainly this organization over there, and that's taken over large segments of Iraq, taken over large segments of Syria, and which America is lining itself against. Go right ahead.
Yeah, then it's come out of nowhere, and that's the acronym is very, very, very interesting to me because even for Muslims, it's very interesting for me because ISIS, they claimed anyway that Muhammad stood against idolatry and idols, and ISIS was one of the main idols, that a well-known name of the Egyptian idol, the Egyptian goddess. And it's been all over the occult world. Every other organization just about, they were calling ISIS this and ISIS that. Well, this one marks out calling it Islamic States of Iran and Iraq and Syria, and calling itself ISIS. And they come out of nowhere with intense brutality and sounding very, very much like the form of religious war that they've been boasting would happen if we didn't do exactly what they said. Meanwhile, they're busy trotting out these other new programs, the President's BRAIN program, which is the acronym for the program that they want to use for computer implants. And tonight, on NBC affiliates all over the country, I thought maybe it was just our local one, but guess what? It was on other stations too. Evidently, it's being trotted out very, very, very fast. And here's one from one in Boston, or WWLP. I'm not sure which city it's in, but it was the same, Springfield, Massachusetts, and it's the same thing that we had on our NBC affiliate just within the last half hour. And among the things that were read to us on television, or said very smoothly by somebody making it sound like the greatest thing since sliced bread, said MasterCard has already taken it a step further. They're exploring a chip that would be implanted under your skin. Each chip has an antenna and a unique ID number. A simple swipe of a finger would be a personal identifier and payment mechanism all in one. The chip is partly being tested as a way to stop identity fraud. Each year, consumers lose about $5 billion to identify thieves. Well, they had a big push about 10 years ago, and which some of us recorded from our television, where a family in Florida, the Jacobson family, was microchipped. And appallingly, CBN, Christian Broadcast Network, had brought the family on and made it and presented a theologian to say there were no theological risks to this whatsoever, that, hey, if you think this could be a fulfillment of Revelation chapter 13, it's not. They brought a Professor Kikasola on to give us that little revelation or piece of disinformation. Well, now it's being, and then it was being said, well, this is a health advantage. This is, so if you're in an accident, people can find you. Well, now they're stopping that pretense, and now they're saying, hey, it's to stop identity fraud. And they said each year consumers lose about $5 billion to identity thieves. Well, there was another aspect to that prophecy. And those who took the mark broke out in these terrible sores, and they longed for death, and death wouldn't come. And I'll do apologies to Catherine Albrecht, who I'm sure can express this much more articulately than myself. She's stayed on top of this for many years. But now it looks like all guns blazing. And Dr. Stan, I can't help but think of the prophecy that this whole thing would come, this temptation would come upon the earth as a snare. And all at once it's being trotted out, and you're looking like you haven't joined the 21st century unless you accept it.
I fear that you're right. I fear that they've been planning this for a long time. And you'll neither buy nor sell unless you wear the mark of the beast or be known by the number of his name. And the number is 666. But, of course, the thing is that they've got to get the people to take these in the name of convenience. Oh, my goodness. A chip either on the back of your hand or on your forehead, or maybe a tattoo or some sort of electronic marker.
Well, they're also talking the same article about the retinal scans. Retinal scans and facial recognition, they say, are already being tested. And there are very few, if they had put that up there 10 years ago, there would have been a storm of comments on it. But now there are just a couple people expressing caution and saying it's creepy. Now they're saying this sounds something like something great.
Well, at one time, our ministers were warning the public about certainly Satan's plan, but so many of our churches today don't really talk about that. They just talk about how God loves everybody, and everybody's going to get to heaven, and wide is the way to heaven. Go right ahead.
Well, Dr. Stan, the people who are endorsing this and praising this program and the President's new program, which is acronymed BRAIN, which stands for, every word in BRAIN stands for something. Some of the major ones, Dr. Dean Radin, R-A-D-I-N, who's with the Institute, chief scientist for the Institute of Noetic Sciences, is one of the prominent voices on board. And this thing was being developed by DARPA. DARPA and the Obama administration said they want all hands on board for this thing, that they're making an accelerated program for it. And it's just, I think it's coming at us from all directions, and it's like a full court press in basketball.
I agree with you, and I share your concern, but the average individual really isn't concerned about it. That's what really bothers me more than anything.
Well, they need to be, but there are some people who are waking up on some aspects of this thing. There's something else going on in education. It's called, these days, Common Core. We've known it under a few other names over the years. It was called World Core Curriculum. Then they called it outcome-based education, and then parts of it were sneaked in under the Bush administration under No Child Left Behind. And basically, it's the fear, and many people were waking up to it. And I attended last weekend the Republican State Convention in Michigan, and I think our governor was on board on the side of Common Core. But just about everybody else that was there was against it, and most people were actively campaigning on the fact that they were against Common Core. And my dear friend Maria Carl, who was nominated for the State Board of Education, had almost as a mantra, no more Common Core. And on the bright side, while we had that bad news yesterday, I did see a little piece of good news by somebody with integrity who was fighting it. I hope that that's what the case was, but I saw that Louisiana Governor Jindal had sued over the Common Core standards.
Well, I think that there is a growing awareness. We're not seeing that much discussion in the controlled media, but certainly we know that a number of states have actually done everything they can to try to get rid of it. And so there is a growing awareness that Common Core is a subversive
Well, they need
program.
to know what the occult roots of Common Core are, Dr. Stan. Robert Mueller wrote 2 articles about it that were published in Beacon magazine. Do you have any idea whose organ the Beacon magazine is?
Oh, I suspect it's the Theosophist.
It's Lucis Trust. That's their official organ.
Okay, well, just hang on to that thought. Our guest is Constance Cumbey. We'll be back right after this break.
On Facebook, on the news, and in conversations with friends, we're bombarded every day with advice on how to be healthier, from gluten-free and non-GMO diets to how much exercise and sleep the body needs. But how much have you heard about alkalizing the body? AlkaVision Plasma pH drops are a holistic and natural way to get your body's pH levels back in balance. Just a few drops in water will help your body rid itself of harmful waste, and even the healthiest of diets can be complemented with your daily use of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops. Who isn't looking for more vibrance, vigor, and energy? Now buy 2 bottles of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops and get $10 off your order. Visit alkavision.com or call 800-518-7615. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops are packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds. Open the door to greater health, vitality, and zest for life. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health. Call 800-518-7615 or head to alkavision.com.
Now you can enjoy the most delicious, freshest, and healthiest drinking water anytime, even while traveling, during outdoor sporting activities, and in hospital filtration environments such as local or national emergencies. The revolutionary Berkey Light removes pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and harmful or unwanted chemicals to below detectable levels. It also removes foul tastes and odors like that rotten egg smell of sulfide, and it reduces nitrates and unhealthy minerals like lead and mercury while leaving in the healthful and nutritional minerals your body needs. The Berkey Light is so powerful it can purify raw, untreated water from remote lakes, streams, and stagnant ponds. The Berkey Light is transparent and glows in the dark with its rechargeable LED lighting system, so it can be used as a night light or camp light.
Get the Berkey Light Purifier for only $279. Call New Millennium 888-803-4438. That's 888-803-4438 or order on the web at berkeywater.com. Not yet available in Iowa.
Is your whole health constantly challenged? Would you like to age less? Then consider taking Ageless Chocolate and Life Support from NutriMedical.com. Ageless Chocolate is a clinically validated, all-natural, fructose-free formula comprised of ingredients that promote overall gastrointestinal health and optimize the body's ability to detoxify harmful substances. In short, it will make you age less. Take Ageless Chocolate together with Life Support from Dr. Bill Deagle's NutriMedical.com. Life Support contains metabolically activated nutrients and detoxification cofactors that support stem cell rejuvenation, metabolism, gastrointestinal health, and anti-inflammatory pathways. Learn more and order Ageless and Life Support online at NutriMedical.com or call 888-212-8871. That's 888-212-8871. Or go to NutriMedical.com, spelled N-U-T-R-I medical.com. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research into why, even if I ate a pretty good-sized meal, that I was still starving. And my research led me to a well-known fact that most of the soils that we grow our crops on here in the United States and across the industrialized world are almost completely depleted of almost all of the key minerals and trace elements that our bodies need to rebuild themselves, fight off cancer, and be healthy. I then searched out the best vitamin and mineral company out there and discovered Youngevity. The Youngevity products are designed to give you the real nutrition you need, and once you've got that, you don't have to eat as much to be satisfied. I've lost 37 pounds in 2 months, simply getting the vitamins and minerals I need. Check it out for yourself. It's incredible. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com today and order your first canister of Beyond Tangy Tangerine Complete Multivitamin Mineral Complex Dietary Supplement. That's InfoWarsTeam.com.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
Well, Dr. Stan, our guest this afternoon, Constance Cumbey, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the leading expert on the New Age and the occult movement in the United States. Now, if you have a question or comment for Constance, our telephone number for this hour is 1-800-259-5791. 1-800-259-5791. If you have a question or comment for Constance, tell our listeners how they can get to your website, how they can get to your books and programs and DVDs and other things you offer.
Okay, sure, Dr. Stan. You can. My blog spot is worldwideweb.cumbey, CUMBEY, .blogspot.com, or just Google. Probably, well, it used to be you could just Google Cumbey, but now lately I don't know what Google's doing to me, but they throw in about everything with a B-E-Y for Cumbey instead of just B-E-Y, which confuses it a little bit, but it still comes up first if you Google Cumbey, My Perspective, which is my blog spot. And I have links to about everything over there. I do a radio program on Saturday morning on the microeffect.com networks and also tmeradio.com. And that's from 10 to 12 Eastern time, which would be 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, or at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Pacific time. And, of course, I keep my number listed if people want to get in touch with me. I pick up the phone if I'm not here. I don't like cell phones particularly. I have one. I try to use it for emergencies. If I'm driving down the road, I can't pick it up. If I'm in church, I can't pick it up. If I'm in court, I can't pick it up, and I tend to use it for emergencies. But if people call my number, which is given on the over on my blog spot, and dial that, it will transfer to my cell phone if it has to, although I prefer the cell phone to be used only for emergencies. And I do pick up the phone if I'm here, and I do like to talk when I have time. I don't have time all the time. I'm still practicing law. I'm trying unsuccessfully to be semi-retired, but I'm busier than I'd anticipated. I'm good at practicing law and bad at collecting the money, which makes me an exceedingly popular lawyer. But at any rate, Dr. Stan, people can get in touch with me. I'm trying to put the books back out. I found that somebody had a pirate of my book up on Kindle and was selling another pirate of my book for $50. I shut both of those up, but Amazon has encouraged me, and I'm going to do it, to put them back out there again on their network, and I think I'm going to do that very, very soon. So I'm busy talking to Amazon about it. The pirated version looked pretty good. Somebody was selling it for 99 cents, and I was almost tempted to leave it alone and let them prosper it, but Amazon told me I'd probably be better off taking it down and preserving my copyright. I don't care if people can go to the Internet and they can download my book for free. That's fine. I just reserve to myself the right to sell it for profit if it's going to be sold that way. I reserve to myself the right to edit it. But if you want to pull it down and burn copies for your friends, pull it down PDF from the various places it's available on the Internet, I'm fine with that. My attitude has always been go forth and multiply. But we'll get it out there on Kindle, on a real Kindle edition again real soon. It was up there for a short period of time until I discovered the pirating. And you don't have to spend $50 to get it from a publisher. That one was interesting, Dr. Stan. I ordered the book to see who was selling my work, and I couldn't identify who the publisher was on the back. It was an on-demand thing with Amazon because it was all in Russian language on the back of the book. Everything else was English, but the name of the publisher and the address and everything else was in Russian. So maybe I should have left well enough alone, but $50 is a lot to charge for that, especially when people can download it for free. And I thought basically we should protect that and not license that at those rates.
Well, basically, we see this movement overseas. This certainly Islamic radical movement, ISIS, certainly that is certainly seems to be very well organized, very well financed, very well trained, and it is doing a good job certainly of taking over large segments of Iraq, large segments of Syria. But of course, now it gives the U.S. government an excuse for sending in military units, both Air Force and apparently Special Forces.
Well, it's looking more and more ominous, that direction. Also, some things that took place in the United States. We had the tragedy of the young man who was killed. We don't know what all the circumstances were in that police shootout in Ferguson, Missouri. But interesting to me were the riots that developed among it. And then they said that there were forces in there, the demonstrators were coming from California and elsewhere. And so I had a hunch, and I checked it, and it checked out. And I did a little Google search on Occupy movement in Ferguson, and sure enough, this Occupy movement is still alive and well. And crisis equals opportunity, and they're moving on several fronts at the same time. And now I'm particularly disturbed now that all these other things are taking place, and now that we need all these personal identifications, and the public is being criminalized, and they're moving ahead great guns with Agenda 21, which was basically a 1992 Rio de Janeiro codification by agreements between countries and non-governmental organizations to implement their all-cult goals that they had been pushing since I started. In fact, they'd been pushing them for years before I started looking at the movement. I didn't discover the New Age movement, which has three major goals: New World Order, New World Religion, and a New Age Messiah they cheerfully admit is not Jesus. I discovered the New Age movement back in 1981 and have tried to stay on its case ever since. But they're moving on several different fronts now at the same time, and I think this time they had said in 1982 they were going to, 1981 Marilyn Ferguson's 1979 book, published by Tarcher Press, said they would succeed this time, whereas in the past they had failed in their efforts because modern communications had encircled the globe beyond any possibility of retreat. Well, the communications they had in 1979 were nothing compared to the communications they have now. And we have the Internet out there, but we're told that what we look at on Google, for example, when we find things, is just a small portion of the Internet, that there is a much, much huger, deep Internet, and now they're talking about the Internet of everything. And daily we're being bombarded with propaganda as to how that's going to make everything flow easier, go easier. The only way they're going to make that system work is by implementing what MasterCard is now talking about. And these implantable chips, you can't have an Internet of everything and track everything without tracking the people.
You're absolutely right. And basically, this is goes along with what was prophesied over 2,000 years ago, where you'd neither be able to buy nor sell unless you had the mark of some sort. And it's increasingly obvious to me that in some way or other this is going to be tied into computer chips.
And then the young kids the young people have been conditioned for this now. My generation had a saying that we needed something like an extra hole in our head. My goodness, these poor kids out there, they're putting extra holes in their head everywhere. Their tongues, their belly buttons, everywhere. They're so used to putting extra holes and extra markings and extra tattoos on their heads. I'm afraid that what MasterCard is proposing is going to look like something very ultra cool. In fact, that's what the news said tonight, that this is something cool.
Well, what can we do, Constance? How can we warn people that we're dealing with something that is truly demonic and satanic?
People need to know the basics on this. We really have to. It's a very sobering time because, Dr. Stan, it was also prophesied that the day would come when the Holy Spirit would no longer strive with man, and that the day was going to come when God was going to say, okay, let he who is righteous be righteous still, let he who is filthy be filthy still. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that digital divide. We really have to be very, very concerned as to what the truth is and to pass it on. And I think we have to do our part. Our part is to warn. And sometimes we have to learn to speak the language that the kids are speaking and know some things. We need to know what the kids are talking about, what their frame of reference is. And there is no substitute for
You may be surprised to learn that unless you crush fresh garlic and don't heat it, you won't get its primary germ-fighting, blood-cleansing, circulation-boosting molecule, allicin. This is health journalist Bill Sardi, and I've come to learn that allicin is the antidote that may save humanity in an era of so many environmental toxins, heavy metals, tainted foods, stubborn pathogens, and even high-fructose corn syrup. The problem is you can't easily swallow a pungent clove of garlic every day without burning your throat and producing garlic odor. Common garlic pills use sleight of hand and pretend to provide allicin, but when tested in a dish of vinegar to simulate stomach acid, the enzyme that makes allicin is destroyed. Enter Garlizyme, the world's first alkaline-buffered garlic pill that neutralizes stomach acid and assuredly makes allicin in just 9 seconds. And here is the good news. Order a 4-month supply of Garlizyme, and it only costs $8 and change per month, and shipping is free. Call 866-674-3955 today. What's not to like about Garlizyme? 866-674-3955.
I didn't believe it. Neither did I. No way could you professionally remove unwanted hair, pain-free, and at home.
My thoughts exactly.
Remove my face and body hair without expensive, painful office visits?
Not possible. Great minds think alike.
Until I tried No Pro.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you tried No?
Yes, and it works. I use it on my face, legs, bikini line.
We're BFFs, and you didn't tell me about No?
Here, this is my new No Pro. The most powerful No made. Custom treatment levels, less hair in less time, perfect for any skin type. Try it.
No hair, no pain, no time-consuming expensive office visits?
No, and no.
For a limited time, you can try No Pro risk-free. You'll also get the facial kit and a travel case. Get weeks of long-lasting results.
That's it. I'm getting a No now.
Great minds do think alike.
Try No Pro risk-free by calling 800-952-5760. 800-952-5760. That's 800-952-5760. 800-952-5760.
As the old saying goes, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you give him a Berkey system, you give him the ability to obtain purified water for a lifetime. This year, when giving Christmas gifts, instead of unwanted trinkets, give a meaningful and substantial gift. Berkey systems are ideal for every member of your family, especially the young ones in college. Unlike other water filtration systems, Berkey purifiers are portable. They require no plumbing, and the elements don't have to be replaced every 4 to 6 months. Perfect for anyone on a tight budget, and more importantly, if there's an unexpected emergency, your loved ones will be prepared. That's because Berkey systems are able to purify raw, untreated water. Check out our Christmas specials at BerkeyWater.com. With one of our quantity specials, you not only get a discount, but in one stop you can get gifts for the entire family. That's BerkeyWater.com or call 888-803-4438. That's 888-803-4438.
Summertime is save big time at Herbal Healer Academy. Long-term customers know summer is the time to stock up at herbalhealer.com. And for new customers, welcome to the web's best place to save on vitamins, minerals, and more. Log on for summer specials, including all sizes of colloidal silver, colloidal minerals, and intestinal freedom on sale. Choose from Herbal Healer's great variety of weight loss products like apple cider vinegar, Hoodia, and Metabolic Complex and Pro-Metabolic, all on sale now. Also, the anti-parasite intestinal freedom and Wormwood Plus Complex, plus Stevia liquid sweetener and the super enzymes, all on sale for summer at herbalhealer.com. As always, we offer certificate correspondence courses in natural medicine. Enjoy same-day shipping and free online newsletter. Log on now to herbalhealer.com and look for summer specials to save big with our nation's leader in supplying quality natural medicine and education since 1988. Herbal Healer Academy.
UnseenNow.com, proud sponsor of GCN. Unseen Now's unparalleled encryption tools keep your communications secure. GCN.
Well, Dr. Stan, our guest is Constance Cumbey. Our telephone number is 1-800-259-5791. 1-800-259-5791. And you must understand that behind everything going on today are powerful, secret, and subversive organizations that have their foundation in the occult. And our churches are not warning the public about them. They're not warning their congregations. So many of our churches today are preaching the gospel that God loves everybody. God is love. You love God. He loves you. And everybody's going to go to heaven. And I don't believe that is the gospel, the Christian gospel at all. What are your thoughts, Constance?
Well, I think it's part of the deception. There was a warning. There was a scriptural profile as to who would be taken in by the Antichrist and his agenda and who would not. And the profile was the love of the truth. And those that receive the love of the truth. I think what counts is that you have to desperately care what the truth is, and that you have to really be searching for the truth, and you really have to trust God, because there's a lot of deception. We were warned that the deception be enough to even deceive the elect, if it were possible. And people thump on their chest and say, I'm the elect, it's not possible to deceive me. And I said, the minute you think it's not possible to deceive you, you're the most vulnerable. Because we are all subject to deception at one time or another. And it really takes a great deal of humility to approach God on this thing, both faith and humility. By the way, this BRAIN initiative of the Obama administration stands for Brain Research Through Advancing Innovative Neural Technologies. It's a long word, NEUROTECHNOLOGIES. And it includes a related DARPA effort to build new brain chips that will be able to predict moods to help treat post-traumatic stress. And that's the pretense that they're marching this out of now, and they're calling it the Electrics program, like Elect RX. And but this is going on all fronts. The Common Core education is part of it. And by the way, Dr. Stan, on the Common Core, and I say there were occult roots. They were working on this thing many, many, many years. They were working on it in the 20s. They were working on it in the 30s. And then the serious work has been going on. Dr. Muller wrote his articles, and they appeared in Lucis Trust, the Lucifer Publishing Company originally, their Beacon magazine in July and October of 1982. I have the originals on both of those articles. And Dr. Muller then gave a speech, and he said he was proud to be known as the father of outcome-based education, but he couldn't take full credit. He had to give credit where credit was due to the Tibetan master Jewel Kuhl, that the Alice Bailey demon that she said was communicating with her telepathically. And then the paper was commissioned. A paper was commissioned, and studies were commissioned on setting up the program, and it was done through UNESCO in 1983. And Dr. Muller, the same Robert Muller who wrote those articles, was the head of UNESCO those years. And they've moved it out, and it's not just about United States national standards. It is about international standards. And basically what it is all about is they want everybody to be on the same page. Marilyn Ferguson's book, The Aquarian Conspiracy, had a chapter about it called Flying and Seeing. And then Alice Bailey's Education in the New Age, which is pretty much what Muller's articles look like they came out of. They were working on it in the 1950s. And the person who wrote the foreword for Alice Bailey's book, she died in 1949, but the trust put out her works. And Dr. Oliver Reiser, who also very dedicated occultist in on everything, Oliver L. Reiser, who was the head of the Department of Philosophy at the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he said one of his things, he noted in the introduction of this, he said, in May of this year, 1953, I attended a 2-day seminar in Chicago, sponsored by the Center for the Study of Liberal Education for Adults, a subdivision of the Ford Foundation, created to express the growing concern of our times for the spiritual basis of our civilization. And they were working on this very actively in the 50s and probably well before that. These were dedicated theosophists, and what they were working on doing, he said, is our problem is to attain the kind of overall synthesis that Marxism and neo-scholasticism provide for their followers, but to get this by the freely chosen cooperative methods that Dewey advocated. Said in the broadest terms, such a worldview will make possible a planetary civilization by integrating whatever transtemporal and transspatial truths about man and the universe we can extract from all regional cultures and their local times and places. Basically what this thing is doing is getting everybody on the same page so they will accept the same propaganda. And they're pushing it. They're pushing it hard. They were pushing it hard before, but they had some hiccups. They had some interruptions. Exposure slowed them down. But now they're determined to push for whatever reason. And the times are in God's hands. God might slow them down again. That would be nice for the sake of our grandchildren. But if God's ready, we'd better be.
I think you're absolutely right, Constance. And I think that the problem is that the average Christian really doesn't see how this all fits together. And yet this is part of a long-range plan. And certainly we have the Christian church on one side, which has been infiltrated. And on the other side, we have a well-organized group of occultists who certainly, as Constance had said, want a one-world government, a one-world financial system, and a one-world religion with the destruction of Christianity. Would that be a fair estimate?
Yes, it is. And they basically want to push us all. They want to control our minds. They basically the things about souls. And I don't think Lucifer has any illusions that he's going to win his war with God. I think he knows he's a loser, but he wants to take as many souls with him as possible. And basically what this is about is pushing the world over the edge on it. And they're talking about Reiser said in the introduction to the Alice Bailey's Lucifer Publishing Company book, said accordingly we need not only the political synthesis of a world federation in which the eastern and western hemisphere functions like the right and left lobes of man's brain, with the seat of the world brain, capital W, capital B, serving as the point of this discussation of the planetary nerves. We also need a planetary life, a planetary ethics, and a planetary way of feeling. to supply the powerful drive we shall require for the great tasks that lay ahead of us. And they felt that they needed education to do it. Common Core is that vehicle that they are using, that they are pushing. They are pushing it hard. It has been pushed by the occultists in the system. One of the main pushers was a woman called Dr. Shirley McCune, who did not even try to hide the occult agenda. And they're on the march again, and we're told that now it's necessary so we can compete globally. And basically, it's a very sobering time. It's an exciting time to be alive. The fact that God has privileged us to see these things, but it's a time when we're just going to have to pray daily for strength for what is coming, whatever it is, because I have a feeling it's not going to be very pretty.
Well, I'm going to have to let you go, but we need to get you on our other programs. Thank you for all you do, Constance, and thank you for introducing me to this whole other aspect of what's going on. God bless you.
Well, Dr. Stan Boy, God bless you, and you owe me an appearance on my radio program very soon.
Okay, we'd love to be there. Well, this is Dr.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Thanks. Bye.
God bless you. Well, this is the time I need to remind our listeners that my ministry, Radio Liberty, Radio Liberty, is primarily listener-supported, and we are dependent upon. This is the time when I need to remind you that my ministry, Radio Liberty, is primarily listener-supported, and quite frankly, we need your financial help to maintain our network of stations, certainly 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, where people are hearing what's going on. You can hear us on AM, FM, certainly on shortwave, on the Internet. You can hear us certainly on satellite. And people find all different types of ways of getting our material. Go to my website, radioliberty.com. That's radioliberty.com. And where it says listen, you can actually go to the segment where you can either listen live or listen to the archive programs. But we certainly encourage you to go there, and to encourage other people to go there. And we need you to get the information and get it out. Now, if you are in a position to join the Radio Liberty family of supporters, to donate to us, to certainly buy our 4 CD sets. We've got a great new one on the danger of electricity, because they are poisoning you and your family, and millions are going to die from that. And then, of course, we have certainly my book, Brotherhood of Darkness. We have the book written by Professor Bagdadian, The New Media Monopoly. They're all available by calling 1-800-544-8927. 1-800-544-8927. Please pray for America, but pray for Radio Liberty, our provision, and our protection.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no